Today we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives, from our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Welcome to Bill Myers Inspires. My idea for this show was to invite guests and get the conversation started, to take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. And we encourage our listeners to look within themselves to take decisive action to make a positive difference. Welcome to Bill Myers Inspires. I'm your host, Bill Myers. And today we are going to discuss, our topic for the day is the title of a song. And the guest today is the singer and songwriter of that song. And the title of the show is Hug a Million Times, the Pandemic Recovery Anthem. And I want to share a little bit about our guest today. Krisanthi Pappas. For a world desperately in need of shedding the isolation and darkness of the COVID-19 pandemic over the past year, renowned singer and songwriter Krisanthi Pappas has composed an original song that seeks to bring us to that feeling and the healing through her beautiful pandemic recovery anthem entitled Hug a Million Times. Singer-songwriter Krisanthi Pappas has been compared to Norah Jones and Diana Krall by JazzTimes Magazine, and to Carpenter and Carole King by AllMusic Guide. Her jazz songwriting style has been compared to Randy Newman by Cadence Magazine, while her pop songwriting has been compared to Carole King by AllMusic Guide. As well as her vocal gentleness, she has the husky voice passion of Bonnie Raitt and the swinging playfulness of Ella Fitzgerald. Please help me welcome my guest today, Krisanthi Pappas. Welcome, Krisanthi.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm just attempting to get the pronunciation of your name correct, so bear with me.
You're doing excellent. Most people really stumble over it, so no, you're doing great.
Yeah, particularly from the Midwest, because it would be Krisanthi all day long.
That's right. That's right. You'd be surprised what I get from that name. People just see it and they freeze. So I always tell them, just think of a chrysanthemum. It's kind of like that, without the mum.
Without the mum, right? That's awesome. So I want to start with your music background and when the roots of music began with you, because we can get into this as a conversation continues, but you do lots of things and you have a virtual music studio and store behind you. I see ukuleles, guitars, I see
Oh, well, I'm actually in my music studio. That's just a sign that I use at my large gigs, and I do play ukulele and drums and piano. So I'm in the room where all of that happens. And this is my workstation. So
awesome. Awesome. So talk to me. When did you first become interested in music? I'd like to hear that journey, as it were.
Well, geez, as far back as I can remember, kindergarten was the first time I remember singing in public, and my teacher saying, I hear all the voices, but I hear one voice above all the others. And she called me Krisanthi. I think it's Krisanthi, she said. Would you like to sing for all of us? And I thought I was in trouble since she was pointing me out. I said, I guess so. So I did. And that was my first remembrance of singing in public and people enjoying it. Mm. Then from there, I started singing in front of my house because there was traffic. I lived on a busy street, and we lived 5 houses from the traffic light. So the cars would stack up waiting for the light to turn green. So I would sing for the traffic that was waiting. That way I could sing the same song. I had like a different audience every 2 minutes.
Right.
People would be afraid to look over at me. Who's the little girl on the lawn? So it was pretty funny. Anyhow, then from there, I started doing, I sang at recess. I had my own little group. I called myself Chris Cool. That started in 5th grade. I thought I was cool. And my short name for Krisanthi is Chris. And my four best friends were my backup singers, and I would write all the songs and we would sing for everybody at recess. And then I sang in my backyard. My dad built me this kind of little stage just out of a rock, really, and he put like these kind of like these poles into the ground so they look like microphones, and I would sing in the backyard. In fact, I have a song I wrote called My Backyard, which is not for today, but just so you know, it's called My Backyard, and it's all about how I started singing. Then I started doing community theater. I really loved theater, musical theater. And then by the time I was in high school, one of the directors that I had worked with in community theater was putting together this thing at a local supper club. They called it a supper club back then. It was kind of like where you went and had dinner and then there was a musical act. And so he asked me and this other boy to do this show. So that was my first professional, job. At the time I was working at McDonald's. I think I was in my junior year of high school. So I was 16 years old, and I was working at McDonald's, an after school job.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this job, singing, paid as much as my whole week at McDonald's. So I thought, wow, I can make money singing. This is amazing. That's how I started realizing I think I want to do this as my profession. So that's kind of my childhood journey.
So talk to me about picking up the instruments along the way on that journey. When did but outside of singing, when did the interest come about with regards to that?
So my sister played piano, and she's 4 years older than me, and I wanted to take lessons so badly. My sister hated it. And my brother, I have a sister and a brother. My brother played the clarinet or something. Neither of them, were really into music. My brother is now. Plays the guitar. But anyways, I was begging my parents, please, can I take piano lessons? And my mother said, no, we're wasting our money on your sister's lessons. So I started just teaching myself how to play just by ear, and like full songs. I was learning like a song that my grandmother liked to hear called Somewhere My Love. Da, 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 da. And then I learned the Charlie Brown theme. And my mother was like, who taught you that? And I said, I just figured it out. And that's when she realized, wow, I guess she really is into this. So she let me take lessons. And that was in the third grade. And it was classical lessons at the time. So I just played classical piano. I was very, very classical. I did concerts and all this stuff that I really didn't enjoy. I was much more into, something that had a groove to it.
Right.
But so then so piano was really the only thing I played as a kid. And then I started playing drums. I think maybe in my late teens, or I can't even remember. And I just picked that up also. I was just like, pick up the sticks and started laying down a groove. I just, kind of when it's in you, it's in you. You can't help it. When I see people that can draw, I think, wow, how do they do that? It's just in you. So, and then ukulele, and I played a little guitar, and I played the electric bass for a while. I played the trumpet for a while. I played the harmonica. I guess I just pick stuff up, and it comes to me pretty easily. You can't help that. It's just in you.
Yeah, well, the reason I was inquiring about the, sort of the roots of that is because I'm a musician as well, and I started playing the trumpet originally. And
don't you find it hard on your lips? It's like if you don't do that every day, my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is critical that you stay on top and keep your chops in order. But
yeah,
when I was playing the trumpet, I would. You're correct, because I think every weekend in probably my freshman, sophomore year of high school, I would pick up a fingering chart and grab a trombone and take it home over the weekend.
Cool.
Grab a French horn the next week and take it home for the weekend. And because what you're saying is so much of music, just like I guess English language or something, is so much of it is transferable. I mean, once you understand a major scale, it's just how do I find it on this thing? And then once you do, but you don't have to relearn that. You just learn, right? I mean, how do I make this thing do that?
Right. Exactly.
but the music is still the same. I mean, it's still, yeah, still the same music. So, but I noticed when I was playing the trumpet, there was quite a bit of time that I was the soloist, oftentimes, like in the jazz band and that sort of thing, and I always leaned over towards or tried to inch my way toward the bass player so I could hear, and that really paid off because I did pick up playing the bass, and then a few years later I could no longer play the trumpet, and I was pretty sad about that because that was my first love, and I still am a trumpet player first. I just can't play anymore for medical reasons. And
yeah, well, it's very physical.
Yeah,
People don't realize that.
yeah, I mean, I literally blew out some stuff in my throat, and it was like, you're lucky you woke up. And
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
so I was able to throw all of my music energy into playing the bass, and so I'm still
Love the bass. The only reason I learned it was just so I could slap, and do the pop. I love that.
There's some amazing little videos of youngsters on YouTube that are just doing it. A lot of females are really tearing the bass up. I mean, young
Yeah,
females are I want lessons. I want lessons with them because they are doing
right.
amazing.
Like who's Carole? What's her name? The famous bass player.
Hey.
Oh my God, I mean, come on. There's no one like her.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like
huge.
Esperanza Spalding, and yeah,
Yeah. There's
so
some,
cool.
yeah, Carole King. I mean, she laid down some stuff that I
Oh
mean,
my God, she was the master.
she really was. She really was. So, so talk to me now. I want to venture into, because I know we're going to come up on a break here shortly, but I want to just talk about what has happened in the last year when COVID and all that came about, and how that affected you. Certainly, we know how it affected, I mean, nationally and worldwide and all that. But I'm just curious, what effect that had on you. Obviously, the calendar was wiped. I mean, mine was obliterated, and it was like, okay, now what?
Exactly.
So, but anyway, I'd like to hear about. I'll start into that because when we come back from the break, I want to lean a little further into that because I think that all this is appropriate in the setup of this song because there was certainly plenty going on in the last year. So talk to me about your experience.
Right. So, COVID hit and nobody realized really what was happening. And at the time, I'm a professional, full-time musician. That's all I do. I don't have another job. So this was in March of 2020. And I had 14 more gigs in the month of March that hadn't happened yet. And I remember getting a phone call that they were canceling one of them, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And then all 14 were canceled like within a day or two. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have no work for the rest of the month, thinking it was only going to be 2 weeks, And then within a couple of weeks, I had no work for the rest of the year. Everything was canceled. Theaters were calling and shutting down, and music festivals and everything. Well, everything just was shutting down. And so I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This is my income. And plus, not only just money wise, like creatively, what do you do? What do you do when you can't do your craft? So I started doing an online show every Friday night. I still am doing it. This week is week 70, but that's a whole nother story. But anyways, that really was so amazing and really helped me so much. But the song comes later, after that. But sure. So anyway, so there's the short answer is everything shut down for me, and I had to figure out what I was going to do creatively, musically, and in every way to live life again.
Well, and I'm glad that you shared that because I very much empathize with all of that. My world shut down in probably about 4 or 5 days. It was just another call after another call. And then I realized, in sort of a panic, like, oh my gosh, I'm a caretaker for my mother for the last 10 years. And that became a serious concern.
Yeah. Definitely.
And, beyond my own self. So anyway, we are speaking with Krisanthi Pappas, a wonderful singer-songwriter, and she has a wonderful song called Hug a Million Times, and it is the anthem for the pandemic. And it is an awesome song. And we're going to take a break right now. We'll come back in just a moment.
Today, we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives, from our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bill Myers Inspires, as he and his guests take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. Emmy Award-winning actor Bill Myers is an accomplished actor, jazz musician, filmmaker, writer, educator, and speaker. As a biracial man who's both black and white, Bill leverages his background, talent, and voice through creativity, compassion, and connection as activism for social justice to focus on uniting the divide and compelling change. Bill Myers Inspires encourages listeners to look within themselves and take decisive action to make a positive difference. For more information, visit his website, billmyersinspires.com, and sign in for the latest news and updates.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires here on the Inspired Choices Network. We're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. And now, let's get back to the conversation. We are back. You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires, and I'm here with my special guest today, Krisanthi Pappas. And we were just discussing the impact, the initial impact of COVID-19 on professional musicians, and of which she is. And so you were saying, so COVID came and it wiped out the employment calendar. And there were other things also that were going on in this last year. And I actually cite them in the midst of the intro for the show, because I must say, as we were left with this huge void and what do I do now, I was forced to do some soul searching, and serious soul searching, like what in the world do I do now? Because I too am a professional. So it was like, I'm out of everything I do involves gatherings of groups of people, everything. And I thought, oh, wow. In that soul searching, I realized that I had a to-do list that had been running for about 10 years since the time that I became caretaker of my mom. And as I looked at that list, podcast was probably at the top of it. I was about to jump into that at the time that I became the caretaker of my mom, at which point everything was set aside and all things were put on hold as I reinvented my life with becoming a caretaker. And I realized I have time now to explore this and figure out what I need to do. I was uncertain about the topic or where I was going with that. And so as I pondered that and researched podcasts and the like, that was when George Floyd hit. And that took it to a whole other level. And I sat there and I I soaked in what was happening, all the narratives and all the feelings and all the, just sort of sitting back, silent, just absorbing all of this as I'm thinking, what in the world also should I do with regards to a podcast? And then it really occurred to me, became hugely obvious that I needed to do a show, and it needed to talk about the political unrest and the crazy going on. And it also needed to talk about racism in America. I'm biracial, so that topic hasn't left my family, much less. So it's something I've been super sensitive to my whole life, because, you got black and white, and I'm sitting there kind of going, I'm not really categorically in either one of these spaces, or I'm in all of these spaces. And so that became clear to me that was going to be what needed to be talked about, because I realized in the narratives that were going on and all the voices speaking out, there were many, many things that they were not speaking about. And that's what let me know that was probably work that was left for me to do.
Right. Yeah.
Feel in the middle of that dialogue and challenge some things and try to get an understanding. So anyway, that's how this show came to be.
That's awesome.
Of all of that. And so I didn't mean to sort of,
No, it's amazing the things that come out of, you know what I mean? That would never have happened had it not been for the pandemic. It's like unreal.
Yeah.
So
I was asked about that in an interview, a theater critic. I also have a considerable theater background as well. So all of that's
cool. My degree's in musical theater. So
yeah. Where did you go? Where did you go to school?
Well, I went to a lot of places, but my musical theater degree is from Dean College, which is in Massachusetts. Okay. But before that, I studied music at a number of different places. But anyway, that's a whole long.
No.
Story,
That's cool. The only reason I asked is because I went to University of Cincinnati Conservatory, and it was musical theater and opera, and I didn't stay really, really long, because I realized I was actually employed for 2 or 3 years before I ever went to school. And then I realized I probably need to get a degree in something else, because this doesn't make sense, because I'm turning down work while I'm at school. And I'm like, I think I'll go back to work.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where I was at.
I didn't go to school right away. I dropped out of school when I was 18 and went on the road with a band, and so yeah, I didn't go back to school till later as well.
Yeah. So talk to me about, again, your views and how this, not only the pandemic, well, the pandemic had an effect, because I don't know about you, but I lost a number of people, particularly in New York, that got hit hard early. Many of the creatives, Terrence McNally, famous playwright. These
right.
A lot of colleagues, a lot of folks that I work with that were taken out very early. And it started to remind me of the AIDS epidemic again, because I was going, because people were just clocking out pretty quick. And I thought, this is bad.
Right. Well, first of all, the George Floyd thing, God, was that just horrible and eye-opening that once again, come on, what the heck? We have to do something about this. It's not going away. And I live in a town with a town common, and I went down to the local town common with a bunch of other people. We all held up, signs, I can't breathe. And just, we didn't know what to do. You just felt like you had to do something, just a kind of a quiet demonstration to just show that this needs to change. And I also am part of a church that's very involved in anti-racism. So that's great. And it at least helps you feel like you're doing something, even though the problem is so huge. But, if it starts on a small level and everybody puts their, part into it, then we can make a change, but everybody has to be on board. So yeah, so disheartening. Yeah. And then the pandemic and all of the deaths and illnesses from that, and people not thinking there's really a pandemic, and oh my gosh, what a year it's been. Unbelievable. So yeah, I share your pain in that.
Yeah, it was quite a time, and unfortunately it just seems to be protracted. When I listen to your song, when I got it, I don't know, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, and I listened to it and I thought, wow, this is awesome. And the whole energy of it felt like the cloud was lifting. I think it's a song of hope now, because I don't think we're there yet. In fact, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, totally.
Or it didn't go away or something. And so, there are cities that are considering, shut down again, sort of thing. And I'm like, man, so
I know.
I'm very tentative about every date on the calendar. Even still, it's like, will this, won't this? What's the deal? You know what I mean? I don't trust it. I don't trust it yet. So
yeah, completely. So when I wrote the song, it was, so now fast forward. So the pandemic started in March. So now fast forward to February. So it's been just about almost a year. And a place that I used to perform at before the pandemic, anyways, that's too long of a story, but anyway, they offered me the vaccination, even though I wasn't of the right age group yet and everything. They had extras, and they said, would you like the vaccine? I was like, yes, please. So I was able to get it in February, whereas most of the people in my age group and my friends and family weren't able to get it till I think April. Anyway, so I got it in February, and the second one at the end of February. And so that's right when I wrote the song. I thought, wow, I'm actually going to be able to be with people again. So let me rewind again. So as you know, we all couldn't be together since March of 2020. So for a year, we lived in the house through a screen, and everything was a Zoom meeting. And my online show, you had your podcast, and I do my online Friday night. I call it a virtual piano bar, because I let other people, make requests, and we kind of have a fun time.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I lost my train of thought. The song. So the song came to be. So during all that time, you weren't able to hug anyone or be with anyone, even. Never mind hug them. You couldn't even be in the same room with them.
Right.
So my niece was born during that time, and so her mom would call us every day and put her on the screen, so she would get to know our faces, and at least when we did meet her, she'd be able to know who we were when we saw her. So that was really good. So she was kind of one inspiration for the song. And so I get this vaccination, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to be together again, be with people again. And so that's the initial way that the hope came to me, like, oh my goodness. And as I was anticipating it, so we weren't even together yet when I wrote it, because the chorus says, it feels so good to be together. And we weren't even together yet, but it was just the anticipation of that.
Yeah.
So that's really how the song came to be, and just giving everybody that light at the end of the tunnel. And, as a songwriter, I always feel like a sense of responsibility to find the hope in situations, so that you're not just writing depressing songs, tell people, where the hope is. And so it's, when you write a happy song, that's one thing, but even when I write a sad song or a serious song, I try to always find the underlying hope in it. And so anyway, so that's kind of how that came to be.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with you on the hope thing. I just don't feel comfortable participating, even in, there are movies, there are shows, there are things that come about that I don't feel comfortable in, because they don't offer any hope at the end.
Right.
And
I don't understand how people find it. Yeah.
I can't do it. I mean, I'm sorry.
Where is the joy in that? People go to a movie that's like leaves you feeling so horrible. There's enough of that in life. You don't need to have entertainment make you feel bad.
Yeah,
music and the arts should help you and make you feel better.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's such a powerful, and particularly music is such a powerful medium for healing. And so, yeah, it's really a bummer when somebody misses the boat on that. And I again, I stand with you.
Yeah, totally.
You on that. All right. So we are up on our second break now, and we are here today discussing Hug a Million Times with the singer-songwriter Krisanthi Pappas. We'll be back in just a moment.
Today, we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives. From our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bill Myers Inspires as he and his guests take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. Emmy Award-winning actor Bill Myers is an accomplished actor, jazz musician, filmmaker, writer, educator, and speaker. As a biracial man who's both black and white, Bill leverages his background, talent, and voice through creativity, compassion, and connection as activism for social justice to focus on uniting the divide and compelling change. Bill Myers Inspires encourages listeners to look within themselves and take decisive action to make a positive difference. For more information, visit his website, billmyersinspires.com, and sign in for the latest news and updates.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires here on the Inspired Choices Network. We're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. And now, let's get back to the conversation. We are back, and we are discussing Hug a Million Times by singer-songwriter Krisanthi Pappas, who is my guest today. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so glad that you wrote this song because it's just so refreshing. And it's definitely sort of a throwback feel to me. I mean, it really is. I'm trying to think. I think the sort of the bounce of like Cheers. And I mean, there's a lot of.
Yeah, it's been compared to a few different. I got the Randy Newman comparison.
Yeah.
The other day, and then I wrote it. You know, remember the song "Love Song" by Sarah Bareilles? I'm not gonna write you a love song. And that was a few years ago. Anyway, and then there's a Michael Bublé song that has that same. Anyway, those kind of were the types of songs that I modeled that groove after. And as you know, as you read in my bio, I'm a jazz singer, but I also am a pop singer. So I kind of have this dual life going on, where I do both styles of music. Uh-huh. And so when I try to write a pop song, there's always like my elements of jazz that kind of sneak in. I can't help it. You know, a 2-5-1 just gets thrown in there. Right. You know, certain chord progression. I can't help it. It's just in you. But it's hard for me to kind of separate that. So the song probably has elements of that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So thanks.
Yeah, the old 2-5-1.
Yeah, the old 2-5-1. I think the intro is a 1-6-4-5. Yeah, you'll hear when you hear the intro of the song, which is just a typical, chord progression in both pop and jazz.
Right.
And the words came to be when I was just thinking about how I was feeling, tired of being alone. You're there on the phone. The whole thing is just like, here we are on a screen. When are we going to be together? And the Hug a Million Times thing, believe it or not, wasn't in the original. The original part was just it said, until. It was like, until what? I couldn't figure out until. Like, I can't wait to see you. I can't wait for the day until what? I was just stuck on that. And then I thought, well, until we get to hug a million times, but that wasn't going to be the real words. That was just like my filler words. So until we get to hug a million times. And then as I started writing the rest of it, I thought, well, really, that is the sentiment that I want to say. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. So why don't I just commit to it? So I'm going to commit to that. And then I started writing the rest of the lyrics, and throwing that refrain in again, like, let's hug a million times, coming in after each of the chorus lines. So, as a songwriter, like, make sure your song title is evident. So when somebody's listening to the song, they don't go, well, I wonder what the name of that song is. They should be able to tell. So then I kind of reinforced the theme, and I was like, that's it. I'm going for it. I'm committing to hug a million times.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I started to tell you earlier, and I realized I abandoned thought, but now I'm coming back. Okay. So I was interviewed by a theater critic or review person here in Indianapolis, and he was interviewing different artists during the pandemic, and he had the end of the interview was about the same 4 questions that were along the lines of, how has this the pandemic affected you personally, how has the pandemic affected you professionally, and so on. So a series of questions. And when he asked me about that, the last question was, what do you miss the most? And I said, I miss the hugs. I miss the hugs. Because I'm very much a physical person. Yeah, I'm a hug. I mean, handshakes are fine, but bring it here, give it to me, So I really appreciated, again, when I heard this song talking about, hug a million times, that really spoke to my heart straight away.
Oh, so thank you.
Yes, thank you. And so without further ado, I don't want time to escape us being able to listen to the song. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Hug a Million Times by Krisanthi Pappas.
Tired of being alone, you're there on my phone. I can't tell if you've been crying. I feel part of me is dying. Every day's the same, playing the waiting game. It's just the way it is right now, on our own and learning how. Oh, but I don't like it this way, and I can't wait for the day when I can look at you and finally say, it feels so good to be together. Let's hug a million times. It feels like it has been forever. Let's hug a million. I just want you to know that I'm not letting you go until we get to hug a million times. It's like we're in a movie scene, eating dinner through a screen. I can't wait until we're able to be across the dinner table. Every day's so long, trying to stay strong. I just want to lay in bed. I take a walk to clear my head. Oh, and then I look up and see it's you, you're running to me. Please tell me we can hug a million times. It feels so good to be together. Let's hug a million hug a million times. It feels so good to be together. Let's hug a million times. It feels like it has been forever. Let's hug a million times. It feels so good to be together. Let's hug a million times. It feels like it has been forever. Let's hug a million times. It feels so good to be together. Let's hug.
Yay.
Thank you. As you can hear, I got some of that jazz in there with the scatting at the end. I had to do something jazzy.
Yeah, I heard it. But I love the little descending line, the little chromatic descending.
Oh yeah, but oh yeah, right.
That's a jazz rub right there. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there it is.
Yes, exactly.
Love it.
Takes a jazz musician to hear that.
Oh yeah. No, I was immediately like, oh yeah, I love it.
When we were on the break listening to the music, is any of that you playing?
Well, yes, I'm playing the bass on all of those.
Oh, cool. I love it. I loved all of them.
Different music, different occasions, and I said, well, it's my show, so I can play.
Yeah, exactly. I loved all of them. Yeah, really cool.
Right? It's like I say it's okay.
Nice.
So yeah, well, thank you so much. So
yeah.
So before we go any further, I do want to give you an opportunity to let my audience know where and how they can support the song, if they can, where they can purchase it, where they can experience it. So
Sure. Well, I actually set up the domain name hugamilliontimes.com, so it would be easy to remember. And that just kind of takes you exactly to my website, which is Krisanthi.com, but Krisanthi.com is a lot harder to spell and remember. So if you go to hugamilliontimes.com, that takes you to my website. You can download the song directly from my website on the music page, or you can, there's a link also to see the video on YouTube. And if you go to iTunes or anywhere where music is downloaded, you can download it from iTunes or, wherever else. And you can listen to it on Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere that you can listen to music. So, but if you just go to hugamilliontimes.com, that can tell you everything else you might want to know. But thank you. I appreciate that very much.
No, I mean, I want everybody to be able to experience that song and be able to play it and whistle along.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's a spirit lifter, and we need that. We need that more than ever.
Yes, a feel good song. We need to feel good.
Yes, absolutely. So, so now what type of, the different feedbacks that you've gotten on the song? I'm just kind of curious and how other people are responding to it. I love the video, by the way. I'm just going to say that. I love the video.
Thanks.
Is that your niece? Is that?
Yep, that's me holding her. Yeah, when I finally saw her for the first time, and she's looking at me like, she recognized me, wasn't quite sure, but yes, she's in the video. Towards the end, you'll see me hugging her. Yeah. I know, it was unbelievable. So what a feeling to finally get to hold her after just seeing her little face on the screen. Yeah. So anyhow, yeah, well, when people first could be together again, when people were first being vaccinated, like in April and May and June, I guess it depends on what state people live in, but everyone was writing to me like going, oh my gosh, the song says exactly what I feel, and thank you for writing it. It describes my sentiment, and I just love it. So I've gotten tons of positive feedback, and I was invited to perform the pre-show at Xfinity Center for Hall & Oates and some other bands as a result of people hearing it. And so, yeah, people have been loving it. I wish I could get it like on a commercial or something so that more people could hear it.
Yeah,
or the theme for a TV show or something.
absolutely.
And I have had music on television shows, like quite a few shows. So maybe that'll come to be at some point. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, congratulations all day long. I love
Oh, thanks. Thank you very much.
it. It sings my soul, that's for sure. So,
Oh, thank you.
no, thank you. Thank you. So, we are going to take our last little break and then we'll come back here in just a minute. You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires with my guest today, Krisanthi Pappas, and her wonderful song, Hug a Million Times. We'll be back in just a moment.
Today, we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives, from our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bill Myers Inspires, as he and his guests take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. Emmy Award-winning actor Bill Myers is an accomplished actor, jazz musician, filmmaker, writer, educator, and speaker. As a biracial man who's both black and white, Bill leverages his background, talent, and voice through creativity, compassion, and connection as activism for social justice to focus on uniting the divide and compelling change. Bill Myers Inspires encourages listeners to look within themselves and take decisive action to make a positive difference. For more information, visit his website, billmyersinspires.com, and sign in for the latest news and updates.
You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires here on the Inspired Choices Network. We're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. And now, let's get back to the conversation. We are back, and I'm here with my special guest, Krisanthi Pappas. Hug a Million Times.
So good to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You are so very welcome. Thank you for offering the world that wonderful gift. That's a gift. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
So as you were talking about my bass playing, you probably also detect, just as we were talking about sort of styles and whatnot, you know, I'm heavily influenced by the bands of like the late 60s, 70s. You know, I love me some Blood, Sweat, and Tears and all kind of stuff, and Fire, all of the above.
Oh, yes.
Make my funk the P-Funk.
Oh, yes. So cool.
I was just like sitting there listening. It's like, yeah, that bass line sounds like a cop show theme or something.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Starsky and Hutch, you know, here we go.
Yes. I love it. I love a cool bass line.
Yeah, I do too. I try to trip across one every once in a while. Boy, there's some, you know, coming up. Bass line is not the easiest thing because you tend to want to stay out of the way of all the other instruments moving around, you know.
Right. I never got good enough to play anything. The only thing I could play was do you remember the song Let's Groove by Earth, Wind and Fire? Bum 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 bum. Because that's pretty much the whole song.
Yeah, that is it.
That was it. That was the only thing I ever accomplished on the electric bass.
That's not bad though. You can play that song all night. People will be on
the that's true. That's true.
All you need is one, and that'll do it. So before we get out of here, I want to just give you the last a last word here. We're not quite done, but I think in the midst of, again, the year that we've had and where we are, because we're not really free yet, I guess. You know, just your thoughts in general about where we are and what your hope is moving forward.
I hope that everyone will cooperate so that we can work together through this, really. You know, if everyone was on the same page, then we could get this pandemic under control with the new Delta variant and being vaccinated and not turning it into a political problem. It's just a health problem. Everybody just should stay healthy together. I don't understand why some people are turning it into a political thing when it really isn't. So my hope is that everyone will come together, and so that we can all be together again. I mean, we are together right now, but as you said, with new strains coming and things shutting down again, I don't want to go down that road again. I don't want another year of being in the garage with people like from 20 feet away. So I hope that we can all come together, and then we really can hug a million times for forever, and put this pandemic as a thing in the past. Remember when we had the pandemic? Not a thing of the present,
Right.
So that's my hope, and that we can continue to make music, and artists can get back out there doing their craft. I can't wait for Broadway to reopen. I want that to be able to reopen safely.
Yeah.
I want everything to be able to go back to, we didn't realize how lucky we were to just have everyday life. And
until it's challenged. Until normal is challenged, and now it's a different normal, and we're like, oh no.
Yeah.
I've just been noticing over the last few days the numbers of artists, whether it's stand-up comedians, bands, a lot of folks are canceling gigs that are going into areas that are not requiring vaccination, and bands and, again, entertainers are bowing out. I heard one individual, I cannot recall her name, but yesterday I was listening to her, and she said, I just canceled a show in Houston, and she's a comedian, and she said, I just do not feel comfortable stepping into a community that doesn't care, and I certainly don't want a gathering of my fans to potentially get sick to come see me. So I will see them at a later time. And she just said, that's it, But I saw some bands doing that too. There's a lot of folks that are bowing out of consideration for those communities that they're going into. And,
right.
So I applaud them for those difficult choices, because of course we want to work, but the expense of it, I think, is a little too great,
Right. You have to look at the bigger picture. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I certainly hope that we will be on track and be able to make some music sometime in the future. And I hope that our paths cross. I hope I can
know.
Face out and say, hey, let's jam, let's do this.
I was just gonna say, I got to come hear you play.
Yeah.
So,
I'm in Indianapolis, so whenever you're in this area, certainly look me up. And if I'm in the Boston area, I will look you up. But
yeah, definitely, that would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
But yeah,
just to be together, and then we can say it feels so good to be together. Really.
Hug a million times.
And we can actually hug in person.
Exactly.
I'm sending you a virtual hug right now.
Oh, thank you. Back at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the song, and I was a little concerned about how to play the song in the course of the show, because I'd love the video. Wish that could be played during the show, but that I hope that everybody goes out and at least does their due diligence and hits either your website or goes to YouTube and checks out the video. Hug a Million Times. It's so wonderful.
Thank you. And if you do go to YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know how that is, trying to get a certain amount of subscribers. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can subscribe to my mailing list as well. If you go to hugamilliontimes.com, that takes you to my website, and right on there is my mailing list. So that's great. And I can let people know what else is going on. So I very much appreciate that.
There you have it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending your afternoon right here with us at Bill Myers Inspires. Remember, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Inspired Choices Network. Remember to take time this week to take a breath and look within yourself and figure out how you can make a positive difference in this world. Spread the word. and we'll see you here next Friday. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for spending your afternoon right here with us at Bill Myers Inspires. Remember, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Inspired Choices Network. Remember to take time this week to take a breath and look within yourself and figure out how you can make a positive difference in this world. Spread the word, and we'll see you here next Friday. Have a wonderful week.